Ladies in red. Ladies in red. Ladies in red. Discuss the latest news, just fans giving their views. This channel is red. They see the bar and raise it, plus they rep for the ladies. Trust it's red. Female voices in football. Red. If you want to talk up, it's a red channel for me and you. Subscribe and tune in to the Ladies in Red.
Hi guys, welcome back to Ladies in Red. I hope you are all doing well. Team news is out, and for those who haven't seen it, it is on the screen there, and me and Nat obviously are going to run through that shortly ahead of tonight's game. But firstly, Nat, thank you so much for joining me again. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. I'm just looking forward to getting into this show and, talking about all the issues.
Not issues, but we'll focus on the positive, Nat.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Just talking about it.
Yeah, no, there's plenty to talk about as well since the last time that we spoke. Exciting that it's on their game day, so it literally like just before the match and the team's just come out. Firstly, let's just quickly run through it just so everyone in the chat is aware as well. So we've got Tyre in goal, Delo, Lindelof, Martinez, Malacia, Casemiro, Ericsson, Bruno, Anthony, Ronaldo and Garnacho. I mean, there's only one place where we could start with that really, and that is the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is back in, as I'll be honest, I expected. But yeah, no, I haven't really got your thoughts on the situation with Ronaldo so far. So obviously he walked down the tunnel and whatnot. He had a meeting with Ten Hag. Apparently all the air was cleared and that he's come back and he's been back into training this week. So I did expect him to come back today. Are you happy to see that? Because I know a lot of United fans were like, I never want to see him in a shirt again, which obviously I wasn't like that. But what he did was wrong, wasn't it?
I mean, I was really disappointed. I didn't expect that for him. The way he sort of presents himself, professional. I thought, we would see better from him. Yeah, he's frustrated. Yeah, he's angry, but I just didn't think he'd ever do something like that, like refusing to come on. It's out of order. It's disgraceful. Yeah. I trust in Ten Hag. What he's done and what he's doing, he knows the right way. He's setting the standard. So in a way, I'm a bit like, I wouldn't have brought him back so quick. But like I said, Ten Hag wants him back. Let's get it going. And, it's on him now to show that he's learned. He's going to put in, I think we're going to see the best. I can see loads of Ronaldo, Ronaldo goal, Ronaldo assist today, because he's going to have to, he's going to have to prove himself in a way. And, hopefully now we see the best Ronaldo again. And that's what we want
to see. That's what we want to see, of course. And look, it'd be hypocritical for me to say, look, I would never do that as a player. I've literally done it myself. But it's different, obviously, at grassroots level when that you obviously, I don't know, when you're working and stuff and then you go in there, it's not like you're getting paid to play football, is it? So that's a bit different, I think, when you're going for enjoyment and going for. And I remember I got like a few minutes when I was at Wolves, and I remember walking off at the end. I've openly spoke about that before, and I did regret it immediately after. But obviously, when it's Cristiano Ronaldo, like every slight thing, he moved a bottle of Coke or whatever it was, and he went absolutely insane. Do you know what I mean? Like every slight thing that he does is scrutinised, isn't it? And you just can't be acting like that. But I think Ten Hag has done the right thing. I think he's dealt with it really well. I expect him to come back because, one, for me, if he doesn't play tonight, Ronaldo, or if his sub again doesn't come on, you've got that whirlwind again. Like, there's already pressure, obviously, on the situation between Ten Hag and Ronaldo, and it just adds even more. I think the fact that he's come back, he's took his punishment, we move on from it. We don't need to, you know what I mean? We don't need to dilly-dally over it. We don't need to stretch it out for any longer than it needs to be. And I think Ronaldo playing tonight, hopefully getting a few goals, like you say as well, will then just literally move us on from that, onwards and upwards, as I say. And I think Ronaldo will have a positive performance. I don't think, in general, he hasn't been unprofessional. That's the most unprofessional thing that we've seen. Apparently, PSV are 2-0 up against Arsenal. I'm just going to have to quickly talk about that. PSV 2-0 up. Olaf Villa said 1 there, but apparently it's 2 now. Let's see what a few people in the chat are saying as well. Hello to Lee. Hello to Doug as well. He says, hi, Soph and Nat. Good stream. Have a good stream. Sorry, unfortunately, I'm a little bit busy on here, but make sure you like the video and subscribe if you are new. Please do that, guys. And his prediction is 2-0 to United, and we'll get ours soon as well. Shiva said I predicted Garnacho to start. I'm excited to see him tonight.
Yeah.
We've seen in glimpses, and obviously he scored quite a few goals as well, but at a lower level. But in terms of in the first team, when pre-season came about and that, and he looked sharp, didn't he? We were thinking we'd see him figure a lot more probably than he has this season so far. But this is the perfect kind of night for him, isn't it? I was surprised, to be honest. I thought Sancho would still start. I thought he'd maybe give Sancho a bit of a confidence booster, play him. Hopefully he can get an assist and a goal and whatnot in this game. So that surprised me a bit, but I'm buzzing to see Garnacho starting in this one.
Yeah, I think with me, Sancho, he started a lot, and then, he's sort of come off the boil, and maybe he's thinking work him in slowly. I don't know. I'm sure Sancho will come off. I do think, though, with Garnacho, like you say, you've got to give the kids a chance. And I'm so happy. Usually we just see them coming on 10 minutes, this and that, but no, I'm so happy he's going to start. I mean, yeah, he might not play I don't think he's going to play the full 90 minutes, but he's been doing his job in the 21s. I know he scored the other day. I think it was in like against Fleetwood or something. I wasn't quite sure, but I know that he did score, and he's been training up. So obviously impressed, and this is his time to shine. And I'm just like, this is what it's all about, academy football, bringing the kids through.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see what he's going to do.
I think it's kind of a no pressure game for him, isn't it, as well? Like, it's one of them games where you think he should be able to relax, he should get time on the ball, we should have the majority of the possession, you'd think, obviously in front of our fans and stuff. You think this is a nice kind of game for him to come into, and hopefully like he can hit the ground running with the first team, because I think he's got a lot of ability, a lot of potential. And yeah, I'm excited to see how he plays. Anthony still keeps his place. What's your thoughts on Anthony? Because I'll be honest, I really like him. I know he's so dependent on his left foot, and I get it. And obviously, you saw that with that chance against Chelsea where it fell on his right. But I feel like he's Ten Hag's man, and to be fair, he stood by him, and he came in straight away, Anthony, and he hit the ground running, didn't he? I've been really impressed with him, I'll be honest. So I did think he might get a rest tonight, but again, I'm always excited to see him on the team sheet.
Yeah, for me, Anthony, I think he's great. I think he had that little spell. I'm surprised he didn't score versus Chelsea, but yeah, like you're saying, the left foot, right foot thing. But for me, every time he's had a chance, he's scored. He's got us out of situations when times are tough. He's scoring the goals that we need. So I'm really impressed by him. I feel like, God, I said this on a radio show, that it's like he's sort of like Ten Hag's Ronaldo when Ronaldo first came to United. So he's got them tricks and that. And yeah, he might not always win the ball, but put him through, bang, goal. You know what I mean? He's got that kind of clinicalness, and
considering
can beat
he
a
has
player.
all these tricks and that, and he obviously is the one to try something a bit spontaneous. I don't think he gives the ball away a lot, though. I'll be honest. Do you know what I mean? He's proper tidy on the ball, and for no offense, but he's obviously a bit shorter and whatnot. Obviously, they'll talk about Martinez, but on a physical level, obviously, you worry about, especially wingers coming into the Premier League, which is a physical league. Nothing seems to faze him, and that's what I like about him. He's just come in, like you say, he's Ten Hag's man, he's backed him, and he's backed himself. You can see that. And the way, celebrating him with the fans and that against Chelsea, you love seeing that. You can see that him, Martinez, Casemiro have brought just a complete shift in mentality to this club, and that's something that we massively needed to happen. A lot of people moaning about the celebrations that against Chelsea on the weekend, saying, he's celebrating a draw and whatnot. I'll be honest, I was in the pub, I was celebrating. And I said it on my show the other day. I said, if you concede against anybody in the 87th minute and you still come back to a draw, I don't care. You're celebrating, because when that penalty went in on the 87th minute, I was fuming, because I'm thinking they did not deserve this. I was livid. I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty; it was clumsy from Scott. But in the general consensus of the game, I don't think Chelsea deserved to go ahead, and I was frustrated. So it was like a massive relief when Casemiro obviously popped up with that goal at the end, and I was celebrating. But do you worry about that mentality thing by us celebrating that, or do you think it shows fighting spirit, the fact we came back?
I think it shows fighting spirit. I think people are talking about, not celebrating. I remember Fergie time, we used to celebrate in the 96th minute getting a draw at Aston Villa. So for people to sort of say you don't celebrate, I remember Vidic, Tevez, all these people running to the away end. So to score right in front of the away end, of course you're going to see scenes like that, as you should. That's what it's about. And I think for a long time, Man United, we talked about the connectivity between fans and players. That was everything that we want to see, That's what it's all about, fighting till the end. Like you said, I was watching that game and I was thinking, even at 0-0 at half time, I was like, how is it 0-0 at half time? And I had a feeling, Chelsea would score, but the fact that we then changed it again and got the goal back, it just shows. And I was saying to someone, if it went on for another,
like last year, that wouldn't have happened. No. We'd have lost the game. So I think that's why I celebrate, because you see the progress, don't you?
But that's why I'm saying, potentially, if we went up for another 10 minutes, bam, we could have got out there 2-1, and then what? And that's what you're saying, progress. Just, it's a difference, it's a change in attitude, and so we should celebrate. And people are bitter if they're saying that you shouldn't celebrate that. Come on, be serious.
I wasn't having a dig at you. There was a lot of people, trust me, on Twitter, rival fans and United fans, who were saying why we're celebrating a draw. But for me, it was the context of it. If it's just a draw and it's been we haven't battled and it's been a boring performance from us and get a draw, then I can understand the frustration. But the fact that 87th minute we can see the penalty at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and to come back from that, I think we have to focus on the positives, and hopefully we'll carry that into this game. Malacia comes back in that as well. That's another change. I didn't expect that to happen. I think Luke Shaw has been in really good form. Obviously got the assist for that Casemiro goal as well. But Malacia, I think, is another signing that came in and has definitely bolsters of the offers of something a bit different to Luke Shaw. I think he's obviously still a bit rash and a bit raw, but I think for the price that we paid for him, he's going to be an absolute bargain. And like I say, Luke Shaw is in good form. Is it coincidence that it's again when we've signed a left back who's pushing him for his place?
Well, no, that seems to be what happens with Luke. You know, he needs that competition to get the best out of him, and I think Malacia has done well. I think, you know, Luke Shaw's just coming to that top form that we know he can do. But like you're saying, I think Malacia's raw, but will eventually be, you know, first choice left back. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think for like Europa League, Thursday, Sunday, so I do think, you know, it's to be expected. And now he's going to have to fight back. Maybe, you know, now Malacia's second choice, Shaw's first choice. He's going to have to show, you know, he's going to have to show I want to play. And that's what it is. It's competition for places, what you want to see. You don't just want someone always rocking up, knowing that they're going to start. You know, if he pulls out a blinder, you know, it could be, and sure, maybe doesn't do as well, you know, then he's dropped. It's the way it is.
And the players are playing for the World Cup, aren't they? Like, look at players like Rashford, Sancho should be, but hasn't really been performing for whatever reason. But yeah, certain players are obviously fighting to get back into that World Cup squad. Another player who you think will be doing that is Harry Maguire. Obviously, with Varane being out injured, which I was absolutely gutted by. I'm glad that it's not as serious as it first seemed, but we've got to cope without him, and he's been a monster at the back with Martinez, hasn't he? So that's a big loss for us. So I guess my question to you is, who do you see being, obviously it's Lindelof tonight, but who do you see being the ideal partner for Martinez whilst Varane is out? Like, do you think Maguire comes straight back in for the league?
I see it being Lindelof, to be honest. I think Victor, I just think he's got that calming presence a bit more. I feel like, I know it's a sort of difference, but I do feel like maybe they're a bit similar, Martinez and Maguire. I know like they are different, but, you know, with that physical, you know, kind of stepping out, whereas maybe Lindelof's a bit more like Varane, a bit more technical, thinking about it, intercepting. I don't know, but I feel like when I have seen Martinez and Lindelof, it does look slightly a bit better than Martinez and Maguire. That's not to say I expect maybe Harry will come on today, or when we'll you know, I won't be surprised if Harry does start, maybe, you know, but I'm just saying what I, you know, start on Sunday. But in my opinion, I would like to see Victor and Martinez if we are going to see like
I think it's just about having a run of games. They need a run of games together. Whoever it's going to be, need a run of games together as a centre-back partnership. That's what I liked about Martinez and Varane, the understanding they had, the cohesiveness they were together. I think whenever Maguire's been in the team, it's felt disjointed. Like, there doesn't seem to be a togetherness. And in all fairness, there was different partners for him week in, week out, obviously, as well. And you have to take that into consideration. But I think with Martinez being the one constant in there, do you know what I mean? You need to find that consistent. And hopefully Lindelof with a run of games can be that guy. I like Lindelof. Yeah, I just feel like Varane, I hope it isn't as big as a loss as what I first felt when he went down, because I was gutted by that, especially after, like I say, the relationship that them two have had. But going into this game against Sheriff, now that you've seen the team, and obviously we've got the likes of Sancho on the bench as well, hand on heart, what are you saying your score prediction is for this one? And everyone in the chat as well, get your score predictions in as well. I'm hoping for some goals.
I'm always going to say big.
Goals, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I always shoot myself in the foot, but yeah.
I always say big, don't I? I always think we're going to win. You know, I think the last game that keeper played a blinder, and we know that keepers are going to come and play a blinder, and it should be 5-ish. But if it's 2, if it's 3, I'm happy. I'm just happy with a win. I think that's what we need to do. We need to just get the wins, because we need to take it all the way down to the final game, and then obviously get that win at in Spain.
Yeah,
well, 6. It should be 6. It should be 5. But every time I do say 4, 5, 6, you know, it ends up being like a 1-0 in the 90th minute. So
the only way I can see it like a 5 or a 6 is if we score an early goal. Because then I feel like we're lacking that bit of confidence. I think if we score an early goal, we do have that feeling about us where we're growing confidence and we can score 2, 3, 4. Do you know what I mean? I think if we start fast, we can kind of blow them away, get an early goal. Then I can see it being a scoreline like that. But I'm like you, I'm just happy with a win. Clean sheet would be lovely, of course, but a win is the most important thing, really. And yeah, hopefully we can get that. And talking about like a win's a win, the women's team obviously at the weekend did get a win. Leicester wasn't the most convincing performance, would you agree, Nat? But we got over the line. And yeah, how are you feeling about the ladies this season? And in terms of the league position, you've got to be happy with that for a start.
Yeah, I'm happy with the league position for the girls. They actually lost in the cup, so it's not looking good for them in that respect last night.
Penalties, yeah.
But in terms of like wins being win, I do get it. It is a win, but it's just something just doesn't look good. Like you're saying, it was very poor. It's very laboured. It was like that in the cup, and I'm a bit worried for them in a way, that the girls, because they've brought in a lot of new players, and yeah, it takes time to gel together. But I'm worried in that, if they don't gel, and there's a lot of pressure on them, and are they feeling that pressure? Because, like you said, we're not seeing great performances. We did see at the start lots of great performances, 4-0s and stuff, but I feel like Honor, Russo, they're big players, and that we missed them when they don't play.
Yeah, I agree. Russo obviously is an interesting one. He had to sign a new contract at United. I know you WhatsApped earlier and said like she's been linked to Leon and I said to you, I actually could see that happening, and it hurts because her and Ella Toon, are like two of my favourite players. What they did obviously with the Lionesses, and that aside, like just the fact they're best mates, I just love their relationship. So that actually hurts if it is true that she's going to go. But surely if she wanted to stay, do you think that deal would have been already signed? Like surely United would be doing all they can to try and keep her after what happened at the Euros. Do you know what I mean? And I worry because if she does go, you look at our team, and I do think we miss that focal point with having Russo there. She gives us that edge. So when she's not there, I just feel like going forwards, we don't have that special. Do you know what I mean? And she is that, isn't she? So, yeah. Can you see that happening? Like going to Leon?
Yeah, I can see it happening. I'd rather go to Leon than a Chelsea or a City. And I know people be like, "Oh, stay in the WSL," but no. I'd rather see it. And it just with United and the women's team, it just feels like chalk and cheese watching the men and the way that Ten Hag's got it, and then watching the women's, how it's laboured and all that kind of thing, and the way the signings that the men are making and signings that it just doesn't feel. And then we had this before, and it just feels like we're slipping back into the old sort of cycle of, we support, and but reality, like you say, if she was going to sign, it would have probably been done. If Honor was going to sign, probably would have been done. And, I'm just worried that there's going to just slip back into complacency, sit top now, but eventually they won't get the position they should
I mean, I guess the positive way to look at it is maybe they're holding on to see if we get Champions League, and then they'll make that decision, because obviously they're going into the prime of their careers, you'd say now, and they're going to be wanting playing European football. And if we get in Champions League, maybe then we'll see a change in that. But yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because especially Honor as well, like she's outstanding. Probably our best player. I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying that, but I think she's quality. So any team would be wanting to snap her up like immediately. So anybody with Champions League football, they could turn her head easily, couldn't they? So that's the scary thing. Like it shows how important it is that we get that Champions League football this season. But yeah, I mean, so far, you'd have to say it's a sign of a good team when you're not playing so well. When you've got major injuries, you can still scrape through. So we have to kind of say that. But I do agree with you. They're just squad depth isn't as strong as what it could be, is it? Like when you look to the bench and whatnot, like who's going to make that impact? And especially when you haven't got the likes of Russo around, like I do feel we're struggling in that sense. And that's maybe where we come unstuck. But obviously, I'm hoping we don't. Hope we keep up the positivity and that the ladies can turn these performances around. Because obviously we've got the wins, we know that. But come up against a quality team and you're going to get stung, aren't you? So that's where we need to try and fathom it out. And what's your thoughts on Skinner as the manager? Like, are you a fan of him, or where do you stand with that?
50-50. I think I've always been 50-50 since he's come in. Sometimes he plays great football and I think, wow, but then sometimes you'll get what we've got the last two games. And, I just feel like with the way the Lionesses played in the summer, and with sort of, like I said, the way I'm seeing Ten Hag do it, I just don't get that kind of feeling from him. You might turn it around, you might do it. I think last season we sort of turned it round and did it, but I want to see it like this is his second season, for a whole season, for a whole period, rather than just 3 months here, but go off the boil, 2 months here, go off the boil. We need to be consistent all the time, and I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I guess that's the next level, because We've always
Yeah.
had them performances where we could turn up against, I don't know, a City or a Chelsea and have a performance and just get a result. Do you know what I mean? We've always had the capability of doing it, but if you want to be a top team and stay at the top, you've got to have that level all the way through, and that's where we've struggled. And I do think that a lot of that comes down to that squad depth, doesn't it? Obviously, when we lost like Jackie Gronin and whatnot as well, like you're thinking, well, who's coming in? Do you know what I mean for that? Like, and that is there's just holes, and hopefully, we do see some signings, and we do see, like I say, a change in performances. Russo coming back would be a big boost, and hopefully we do get Champions League and them kind of players stay on. But that's the only way. Really, I think if you love United, like obviously Russo does, you'd have signed by now. So that tells me it's down to the fact that she's waiting on that European football. That's the only thing I can think. Or she's got an offer from elsewhere that obviously we don't know about. Leon, possibly. But yeah, be interested to see what happens. I'll be gutted. I was gutted when we lost Lauren James, even though I think it was pretty obvious that was going to happen. I was gutted by that. And I'll feel gutted again if Russo goes. But yeah, sign me up. I'm a free agent now, United. Sign me up. But yeah, be interested what happens. Like I say, I've got to focus on the positives. A good start to the season in terms of points. Obviously, the cup aside, cup run hasn't been the best so far, losing on penalties to Durham the other day. But it is what it is. League is most important in getting into that Champions League, isn't it? But and it's the same for the men's team. Obviously, we've got a Europa League game shortly, but we want to try and win that competition and get back into the Champions League. That would be nice. I mean, what's our best chance, do you think, of Champions League this football night? Because some of the teams that are coming into this Europa League are crazy. Barcelona, Juventus, do you know what I mean? So, like, can we get back into the Champions League this season? And also, what's our best way of doing it in the league, like top four, or going for the trophy?
I think we can definitely get back into it. I think we could win the trophy, but for me, I think we should focus on the league. I think, we're basically level with. I know this is going to sound stupid. I don't want people to be like, oh, but I really do feel we can finish, second, third. I just think we'll definitely finish above Liverpool, but I think that's a given now, sort of maybe. But I just feel like there is this belief we're going forward, we're smashing it, and I just feel like, like you're saying, Arsenal losing now, maybe they're not really putting much emphasis on the Europa League either, and they're thinking, they're sitting top, so fair enough. But I just think that we can be in amongst it. We've beaten these top teams, apart from City, but so why can't we continue and go far in the league? And like you say, we won't win it, but I think we should be aiming to finish as high up as possible and just lay that marker down.
I agree with you, and I think if you're in a competition, you need to win it. We're going to try and win it, but we also have to be sensible. Like tonight, obviously, we've made a few changes and stuff. There's probably more changes I'd have made. Like Casemiro was another one I'd have probably thought about resting. I mentioned Anthony earlier, but these are the kind of games where we do need to make use of our squad and rotate. You think the more the season goes on, especially after the World Cup, obviously players are going to be fatigued, and injuries are going to play a big part, I think, in that top four run. Certain teams get bigly short. With Liverpool this season, big injuries for their team, and it's affected them massively. And I feel that's where I worry. So hopefully players like Varane can keep themselves fit for a period of time, like I say, especially post World Cup. And I think if we can keep our squad fit, then there's no, I don't see why we can't. There's no reason why we can't get into that top four. We're definitely good enough to do it. But if it's a bit mentioned with the women's team, there's certain injury to Casemiro, for example, you're relying on McFred again, and we already know we can't do that. So that squad depth is important. But I'm positive. I can see signs. I can see progress in what Ten Hag's trying to do. I think we've kind of grown into his style. I think with every game we see us develop more and more into that. I think the first major sign you saw of it was that first half against Everton when we looked really good. I thought first half against Chelsea we totally dominated them as well. So yeah, I do think that we're seeing it more and more each game. Hopefully we'll get like the whole solid performance tonight. That would be nice, and score a few goals and keep a clean sheet like I've just said. But Nat, thank you so much for joining me again. I absolutely love doing these little preview shows with you. And please let people know as well where they can find you. I'll tell you what, let me put the what can I see the display names? Let me get rid of my banner, and then we might be able to. There we go. We go.
Yeah, so definitely.
People know where to find you, mate.
Definitely on Twitter. There you can see. I'm not even going to try and point because I want to point. I get it wrong. But yeah, Natalie _17 on Twitter, Naughty Natty B on Instagram. Check out YouTube. Got our own channel. It's Only One United. Actually hit 1K subs recently, nice. So go and check that out. We're on Twitter as well and Instagram on that. The Only One United Club. So yeah, we're going to start doing different things. I go to a lot of women's games, so I'm going to start doing like cameras from that. So definitely check it out. It'll be really good.
Look forward to seeing that. Make sure you go and follow Nat on all socials. Great content for the men and the women, as you just mentioned there. And of course, if you are new, please hit a subscribe on Ladies in Red. Hit a like on the video as well for my guests. And of course, if I've missed any comments, just drop them underneath and I'll always check them out there as well. All that's left to say is, come on, United. Let's get that win. Let's get a few goals.
Come on,
Make us
5-0
smile.
FC.
Come on, United. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the game, everyone. Take care, and we will see you all soon.